Hi, my name is Jacob Britton, and today I'm going to be talking to you about offensive line play. I'm going to cover different things in the run game, pass game, your stance, and how different techniques that you can pull. The most important part of playing offensive line is getting in a good and balanced stance. This is the most important part because it's going to allow you to move either direction, run or pass game, and not give away what's going on. So it's important to be balanced. The first step to getting in a good stance is standing with your feet about shoulder width apart where you feel the most powerful. After that, you're going to want to set a stagger. If you're on the right side, you're going to put your right foot back. And again, this isn't a certain position. This is just really where you're going to feel comfortable. Some guys split their foot. Some guys have it back past their heel. It's really just where you feel comfortable. I feel comfortable right about at my heel. So once I set my stagger, I'm going to point my toe outwards at about a 45-degree angle. Now, this is naturally going to make me want to open up my hips like this. So the next step is to square your hips up with your toe pointing out, and then this is a very important step that I'll touch on later as why it's so important. But the next step is you're going to want to kind of almost just shimmy down, and then have your rest your inside elbow on your knee, and then this hand will go right here on your thigh. And it's important to keep your elbow like this, not flaring out, and keep your elbow nice and tight so you can, in order for you to eliminate wasted movement later on. This is the basics of getting down into a two-point stance. To get into a three-point stance, all you got to do is act like your eyeballs fell out of your head. You put your hand down like you're going to pick them up. Here we're going to have my test dummy Colin demonstrate how to get into a proper stance. First, he's going to set his base. He's going to be in somewhere where he feels comfortable. It could be a little bit farther than some guys. Some guys are going to be a little bit more narrow. Next, he's going to set his stagger. So he's going to drag his foot back, his right foot back if he's getting in a right-handed stance, and his left foot if he's getting in a left-handed stance. From there, he's going to point his toe out at a 45-degree angle. And now, remember, that's going to open up his hips, so next he has to set his hips. Once he sets his hips, he'll be able to shimmy down into a stance, rest his inside elbow there, and rest his hand on his thigh. And now if he goes to get into a three-point stance, just going to act like his eyeballs fell right out of his head. Now, teaching getting into a proper stance to beginners, you'll see some bad habits. So I want Colin to come out here, and I'll demonstrate some bad habits that you might see. So if Colin goes ahead and gets into his right-handed stance, now his two-point stance looks fine, but now if he gets into a three-point stance and he has too much weight on his front hand, all you got to do is walk by. If he falls right on his face, that's not something you want to see. We'll have Colin get into a stance again. This is what it should look like. Colin's going to be nice and balanced. I'm going to swipe his hand away, and he's not going anywhere. You might see a little bit of a tilt forward as well. That's all right as well, but he can't be falling on his face. He's got to make sure he's balanced so it can be run or pass, or he can go right or left.
2, 1.
Today I'm going to be talking about the fundamentals of zone footwork in the zone scheme. There's different kind of schemes that you can run in football. The big ones you'll see are zone, gap, and power schemes. But for now, I'm only going to focus on the zone schemes because that's a big chunk of what we like to run. So I'm going to use this tool right here, just call it a T, made out of PVC pipe. You just set that down, and some guys will put it, create a neutral zone with a line, something like that. But you can really use it anywhere on any surface at any time. But I'm gonna use this to ensure that I'm gaining ground and getting movement in my zone footwork. So I'm gonna get my good right-handed stance, good three-point stance, and my first step is gonna want to be lateral across this line that's splitting it. Because I want to get it across, because if I'm not getting it across, that means I'm gonna be stepping underneath myself and not gaining any ground. My second step is gonna want to be coming across and through the midsection of my defender. And then from there, my third step should look identical to my first step. So I'm going to be driving off this leg, another lateral step, and then my defender is naturally going to want to play his gap and come with me. So then I'm going to run him play side. I'm going to bring my test dummy Colin back out here to demonstrate a drill that you can do when first implementing the zone footwork. So what we're going to have Colin do is get into a good stance. And now we're going to have him go through his footwork each step at a time. So we'll have him go through his first step first, and then his second, or his first two here. And then for the final one, he'll go all the way through like he's running a full speed rep. Now I'm going to bring Colin back out here again and demonstrate the same exact drill, but from the left-handed stance, running zone to the left. He's going to set his stagger with his left foot, and then go down with his left hand rather than his right. Now he's going to come with the first two steps for this one. And now he's going to run it all the way through. Now, a different type of zone footwork you can see is outside zone footwork. And with this, it's going to be very similar to the inside zone footwork that we just did. Again, you're going to get in a good stance. Except your first step this time is going to be, you're going to want to lose a little ground to gain a little ground because you're trying to reach an outside shoulder of a defender. So I'm going to almost lose a little ground right here. And then the rest of the footwork's almost similar. You don't want to open your hips, but it'll be right here. Like so. Now I'm going to bring back my test dummy again, Colin here. He's going to demonstrate the similar drill we did with the inside zone, but for outside zone. This is important for beginners to be able to take it slow and make sure that they're getting strong and powerful feet. Now Colin's getting himself into a good right-handed stance again. He's going to take his first step outside. It's going to be a little deeper and wider. And now we're going to see his first two steps here. And now he's going to run all the way through full speed, trying to reach the outside armpit of his defender. Now next I'm going to be teaching the two different types of pulls. There's an open pull and there's a skip pull. An open pull you'll see in plays like pin and pull and plays that we're trying to get more outside to bring offensive linemen around into space. And then a skip pull you're going to see in power when you want a guy to be more vertical and up and down the field. So first I'm going to be teaching the open pull. So like I stated earlier, the open pull is going to be something you want to execute when you're trying to gain leverage on an outside defender, usually a linebacker, and it's an outside run hit and play. So I'm going to get in my good right-handed stance, and as I get out of my stance, the first thing I'm going to do is pretend like there's a pane of glass right here, and I'm going to shatter it with my elbow to open up. Some guys will like say that they're starting a lawnmower too. Imagine you're starting a lawnmower, pulling back, they're shattering the glass. So I'm going to turn and shatter the glass with my... So the first move I'm going to make, like I said, is I'm going to break the glass or start the lawnmower. So when I do that, I'm naturally going to open up. And when I do that, I mean, you're just going to want to get out and run. So at full speed, it'll look like this. Cut it. So now I'm going to have Colin demonstrate how to do a proper open pull. First, I'm going to have him go through it slowly, and then we'll go full speed. First, he's going to get in his good stance again. Then he's going to start the lawnmower or break the glass. Then he's going to get out and run. Now he's going to come back, and he's going to go full speed, and his goal is to get around this garbage can. Now the next pull I'm going to teach is a skip pull. This is something you'll see in power in a play that you're trying to get more downhill quicker. So again, I'm going to get my good right-handed stance. And if we're running power and the right side's pulling, that means we're running it to the left side. And the simple technique to this is it's important that your first step has to be with your off foot. So it's going to be with my right foot here. And I'm going to bring it right behind me, almost directly behind my left foot. And then my left foot's going to follow back. And then from here, I'm in position to take off downhill and run and get inside out on my linebacker that I'm going to be pulling for. Full speed, it'll look something like this. Now I'm going to have Colin demonstrate how to properly skip pull. A drill you can use is set up a cone or a garbage can or anything like that that they have to go around. The trick is to get outside of this, but stay inside out on a linebacker. That'll be somewhere over here. So we're gonna have Colin go full speed right at this. You can go through this repetitively if you have a full team. So far today we've talked about how to get in a proper and balanced stance. We've gone over different zone schemes in the run game, and we've gone over the 2 different kinds of pulls, open and skip. Next on the agenda is to go through the pass game. Like it's so important in everything, it's important to be in a good and balanced stance. Once I'm in a good and balanced stance, I gotta be able to go both directions. That's why it's so important to be balanced. If I'm leaning too far in and my defender goes in right away, I can't go anywhere. It's gonna be tough for me to go inside. And same thing, if I'm leaning too far this way and he's going out here, it's hard for me to move my weight from inside out if I'm already out. So the first technique in offensive line play is to get in a good 2 or 3 point stance. I'll do it from a 2-point stance here. And all it is you're gonna drive off this inside leg and just they'll let your outside leg catch you. That's nothing, your outside leg is doing nothing else but catching. It's all coming from right here. So I'm gonna be in a good balanced stance and drive off this leg, like so. Now, a defender's not always gonna go right outside either. Sometimes he's gonna go right inside and stun inside. So that's why it's important to be balanced. So then this leg, your outside leg can turn into your drive leg, and your inside leg can turn into your catch leg. So that way, when he goes inside on the snap, I can go right here. All right, so a simple drill that you can do with beginners learning their footwork and pass protection is called grid sets. It's really simple. They're gonna get in their stance and they're gonna go, you're gonna tell them however many out and however many in. So for example, I'll tell Colin 1 out and 1 in. And then on my cadence, he's gonna take 1 kick out and then he's gonna take 1 drive out and then 1 drive in. Set, hut. This can be done a number of ways. I can tell Colin 2 kicks and then 1 inside. Set, hut. This is an important drill because the defender is never going to just go one direction. If you take away his initial move, he's going to counter another way. He's going to go inside or out. So it's important to have the footwork and the ability to be able to go in and out. Now, a problem that you'll see with a lot of players that are just starting to use this technique is a lot of wasted movement in their upper body. And you want to eliminate that as much as possible. What I mean by that is young players, well, a lot of times when they're driving out, will bring their arms with them. They'll chug along like this. You'll see some sort of movement like that where it doesn't look right and it doesn't look smooth. And it's only making them slower because they're wasting all that movement. So a little nuance you can add to this drill is have them hold a basketball exactly like they're going to shoot a free throw. If they're in a right-handed stance, they're going to hold it like they're shooting right-handed. And if they're in a left-handed stance, they're going to hold it like they're shooting left-handed. So you're going to do the same drill that you did before. You're going to get down, hold the basketball, and then this will stop them from being able to chug their arms and flare their hands outside and doing all that weird stuff that young players like to do. So, all right, so now I'm going to bring Colin back out here and demonstrate what it looks like with a basketball and how it can eliminate the wasted movement in his upper body. So he's going to get down in a good two-point stance and hold the basketball right out in front of him like he's about to shoot a free throw. So now I'm going to tell Colin 1 drive and then 1 drive inside. So one out, 1 in. Set, hut. And that eliminates so much wasted movement in his upper body. Now, a defender's not always going to go outside first, so I'll have Colin get in his stance. Then I'm going to have him go 1 in, 1 out, because as I talked about earlier, if Colin takes away his inside move first, he's got to counter with something else. Set, hut. Now, when you're lined up, a defender isn't always going to be head up to you or on your outside shoulder. There's different techniques you can line up in. So this is a great drill to talk about the footwork that you can do. So I'm going to have Colin out here. And first you got to have an ID for all these different techniques. So Colin's going to start out in an inside technique. So he's inside, and my inside shoulder, we're going to call him a 4-eye or a 3, depending on what your coach likes to do or anything like that. But he's going to get lined up, and then if he's inside, I got to take away my inside gap. I can't invite a defender inside by kicking with my outside leg first. I got to drive inside and cut him off. And then if we had pads on, he'd take a step forward and I'd throw a punch at him. But we're not wearing pads. The next technique you'll see is a head up technique. If he's head up on me, the footwork's really simple for this one. All I'm gonna do is pick him up and put him down. And what I mean by that is pick up my inside foot first, because my inside is my most dangerous. So if he goes inside, I gotta be able to take that away. And then put that down and pick up my inside leg. It's gonna look something like this. And that's all it is if he's head up on me. Now if he's outside, my outside shoulder, the footwork is gonna be, you're gonna get one kick, one drive. So I'm gonna drive off this leg on the snap. And I always want the middle of my body to have a relationship with with the inner portion of his body. Now the next technique you'll see if you're a tackle is a wide technique. These are becoming more and more common in the game today, and they give a lot of tackles problems because defensive ends typically are able to out-athlete offensive linemen, but it's really quite simple to take away. All you have to do is turn a wide technique into an outside shade technique, and that's all you gotta do is do that by taking good footwork. So if I take two kicks, I'll meet him at what we call the set point, and then it'll be an outside technique like normal. Then he'll come in right here. All right, now when you do this drill, you're gonna go through all 4 of those techniques and take a different set with all of them. So first Colin's gonna defend an inside technique, and the garbage can is gonna represent his defender. He's gonna take his footwork inside to take away the inside move. Set, hut. The next technique we're gonna see is the head up technique. So all Colin's gonna do is pick him up and put him down. So he's gonna pick up his inside, he's gonna just barely pick up his inside leg and then barely pick up his outside leg to be able to take away the inside move first and be able to react off the defender. Set, hut. That's all it is. Now we're gonna have the defender line up in an outside technique. This is typically the most common one you'll see as a tackle, but it just depends on the defense and depends on the schemes they like to run. That's why you have to be prepared for all of them. Colin's just gonna take one kick on this one. That's all he needs. Set, hut. And the next you'll see is a wide technique. This one looks intimidating, especially if you have a great athlete playing defensive end, but all an offensive lineman has to do here is trust his footwork and beat him to the set point where they'll meet. Set, hut. Now just to summarize what we went through today. First, everything starts with having a good, proper, and balanced stance so you can play as fast and as powerful as possible. Then out of that stance, you'll be able to play the run game correctly. You can go through your zone footwork, and once you have that down, you can go through different kinds of pulls, the open and the skip pull, and the different drills you can do around that, where the skip pull and the open pull, they have to get around an obstacle, around a cone. It's really important to remember to get wide and fast and break the glass when you're open pulling, and it's really important to get as vertical as possible when you're skip pulling. And in the pass game, I cannot stress enough how important it is to be balanced in your stance, to be able to go inside and out, and to always be ready to expect a counter.